I'm intrigued by a couple of things, but I'll start with the concept of intrapreneur. Our audience are much of our audience are entrepreneurs, but a lot of them are intrapreneurs that work for companies, and I think it would be interesting to hear a little bit more from your opinion of the role of an intrapreneur within a publicly traded, a large company, how you established that initiative to be an intrapreneur.
Welcome to another episode of Brothers, Battles, and Bounty, where family, future success, and business converge. I am your host, Andreas.
Morning, I'm David.
I'm Stefan.
And I'm Martin. And I'd like to say this podcast is sponsored by Trendler Incorporated.
Yes, very nice. So we have a guest today, a very special guest. And considering the magnitude of his accolades and accomplishments, forgive me, but I have to read them because I tried to memorize it, but it became a little difficult. So with that being said, I would like to introduce our guest. David Trupiano is a seasoned business leader, strategic thinker, and the past two-time president of the Executive Leadership Forum, which is a peer advisory group dedicated to developing top-tier leaders. Through his role, David has gained a front-row seat in the inner workings of high-performing executive teams and the personal journeys that shape great leaders. In addition, David currently serves as the Vice President of Commercial Sales for private equity at Zscaler, one of the world's leading cloud security companies. Over his career, he's held leadership roles in Apptio, SAP Concur, ADP, and Ceridian, driving performance, building teams, and leading through change in one of the most competitive sectors in U.S. business industry. So with that, let's fire away. We are now ready to embark on finding out some great things from our dear friend, David.
Did you use AI to write that, or?
Actually, I probably could have.
You could have.
Yeah.
No, it sounded pretty good, though. Thank you.
Yeah, well, if I used AI, I did try to use AI, but it ended up being like 50 pages because of all the robustness of your achievements. So I had to just say, I'm going to start from scratch with what I know from you. I do believe I need to be corrected with one thing. I said leading cloud security companies. What is the term for that?
Cybersecurity. I'm in the cybersecurity sector now.
Very nice. Yeah. Excellent. So with that, can you just give us a little background of you? I know I did, but what do you think about this process? Where are you at? How do you feel about being here? That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. Never been on a podcast, so to share a little bit about myself is
all right. First time. Yeah.
First time.
Congratulations, David. Way to go.
But look, as part of my career and my journey, I've been a sales leader for the last 12 years. Currently, as a vice president of sales, I do have 3 sales teams that I currently manage, about 15 sales reps, and always worked for very, very large corporations. So kind of an intrapreneur in that sense is to, being able to kind of own my own business and franchise within a large corporation is kind of the mentality I've always had. And just really trying to support my sales reps, my sales leaders, coaching and developing them from a personal and career standpoint is some of my core mentality and approach to my day-to-day operations, and helping people be as successful as possible and helping customers solve business problems that we can address, and specifically in the realm of cybersecurity today.
Love it. Cybersecurity's got like a cool buzz. It's like awesome. I just want to say one thing. I've known David for 15, 16 years. And throughout the history of knowing him, he's always really proactive in assessing what's his next move. What's he going to do? Always been a consummate strategist, to the point where he is establishing option A, option B, option C, and has each one of those rather thoroughly integrated. He not only focuses on the position that aligns with the skills, but also what he can do to expand and grow. So he's always stretching into this, and then tries to align himself with an organization that is complementary to his growth, but also has a culture that's going to support him in the growth as it goes. I mean, I could go on and on, but I mean,
how did you, what got you into this field? I mean, what was the catalyst that
Into cybersecurity or sales?
Yeah, well, both, but the cybersecurity first. But
I've been with Zscaler, company I'm at now, for 7 years, and I just was fortunate to know someone that worked there in the time where I was not necessarily happy in my current role, and they were looking for a leader that essentially fit my skill set and the market that I kind of specialize in. And it was kind of magic from there. So knowing the right person kind of got me into cybersecurity. Now that I'm in the space, I'm pretty sure I'll be in it for the rest of my career. And I guess if you rewind all the way back to sales, I don't think I knew what I wanted to do when I was in high school, college. I really thought I wanted to probably get more into finance. And it's kind of something my uncle did. And I remember being in college, taking a bunch of business classes, and my mom sent me this news clipping that's like, look at this car salesman that didn't have any sales for the last 5 months. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to be a car salesman. But I started selling advertising at the school newspaper at Northern Illinois University. And that was kind of the piece for me that kind of opened up like, hey, I do like working with companies and helping them achieve their goals and making commission based on my efforts. And to me, time is money. And I like to be pretty efficient with that.
I'm intrigued by a couple of things, but I'll start with the concept of intrapreneur. Our audience are much of our audience are entrepreneurs, but a lot of them are intrapreneurs that are working for companies. And I think it would be interesting to hear a little bit more from your opinion of the role of an intrapreneur within a large company, how you established that initiative to be an intrapreneur.
Yeah, I think, the market has just completely changed over, call it really the last 10 years. I've worked for these publicly traded companies for my entire career. And I've always been very interested in the stock market and those types of things. But, and my dad was an entrepreneur. He was, he owned a dry cleaners, was a tailor. Cool. So I kind of grew up in that realm, but I didn't know how to start my own business. So going into college, I just, around the right people at the right time, learned about sales, found out about software, and just kind of jumped into software right away. But working for these large corporations, I guess the way that my mind started to work over time was there's a product that's available to me. So I'm going to take that product, and you've given me a book of business. Here's a couple hundred accounts, whatever that may be. So I'm going to make the most of my opportunity. Mm-hmm. What I do to wake up every single day and take advantage of this product that's available to me, this is my business. It's my opportunity. And then over time, as I got into leadership, really kind of taking that mentality to my sales reps. Like, this is your opportunity to sell the best cybersecurity product in the world, for example. So what are you going to do with your franchise? And then the other part of the intrapreneur that I think is important in this sense is really the financial opportunity that comes along with it. Okay. Obviously, as an entrepreneur owning your own business, you're reaping the benefits of the financial rewards that come with it. And, with Silicon Valley and all the opportunity there, with, the large Facebook, Google, et cetera, that give equity in the organizations, that's an important piece of what I seek with any opportunities that I go to have equity as a financial reward, where I do feel like I'm invested in the success of the business.
So what's your dad's name?
Clemente.
Mm-hmm. Is he still around?
He is. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we do a shout out to Clemente. Entrepreneur, big influence. Shout out.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, Clemente.
What about Mama? Hey, Rose.
Yeah. Rose Clemente. Oh, yeah, man. Clemente. So he's an entrepreneur, and sounds like he's had a huge impact on, your thinking and your
just hard work. Yeah. I mean, we didn't go on a family vacation until I had graduated college at 23. So I grew up around hard work, and I started working at the age of 13 myself.
Very cool.
That's pretty wild.
So, Executive Leadership Forum, what could you say that experience has contributed to your trajectory to have a better quality of life?
Yeah, and everyone's familiar with the.
Yeah,
I
tell
would
us
say,
a
why
little
don't you
more.
explain a little
Yeah.
bit, because our audience might not know exactly what that organization is. So maybe kind of give a overview.
There's a group of 8 guys, currently 8 guys. It's kind of evolved over time. Been part of this group for 16 years, Executive Leadership Forum, and we call ourselves our board of directors around your personal, professional, family, spirituality. We've kind of crossed the realm. I think it was based on another organization that was mostly around professional goals, but we've taken it and really expanded that to have a group of 8 guys that really care about each other's success in every facet of each other's lives. And it's for 16 years, I'm still the youngest individual in this group. And it has changed my life. It's given me wisdom beyond my years to learn from, guys that are 20 plus years older than me, that have kids that are roughly my age and grandkids, and the mistakes that they've made in their lives, and working with their children and their spouses, and just the evolution that they're seeing, and how can I bring that to my family to learn from those mistakes and, be the best man I can be.
What year were you born?
81.
81. So that makes you what, 43?
44.
44.
Yeah.
And you've been in the forum for 16 years.
16. Kim.
That's quite,
Wow.
that's really impressive. And how did you get introduced to the forum?
There was a customer. I just happened to be at his location working on a contract with him. I had spent a lot of time actually trying to help his wife get a career at the job I was at.
And that customer's name is Jason Reha. Shout out to Jason.
Hey,
Jason.
Jason.
He has
Thank you,
his
Jason.
own insurance company,
Okay.
and he's also a consummate entrepreneur. So he was in the forum,
Okay.
and David was he was a client of David.
So a young guy, 27, 26, and you.
Yeah, I was 28 probably at the time, and he's just like, "Hey, well, we got this meeting going on in the next room." And it's not a networking group, and so I sit in there, and everyone's like, "Why did this kid just walk in the room?" No one knew I was not supposed to be there, and it was literally a day that changed my life.
So what could you share with other young adults that are going through what you went through to all of a sudden, the impact that this forum had, and kind of a little bit about the journey? And see, were you scared? Or were you excited, or
No,
what?
I mean, I've been part of a lot of networking groups where you're
Okay.
trying to solicit your business and find opportunities, and that's not what this is. And they made that very clear the second that I sat down, and I'm like, sounds great to me. Like I'm looking for personal growth and development. And the way I've described it to you, I literally just shared this with one of my reps yesterday, the same thing. Because I was talking about this retreat that we have going on this weekend that we do every year. And, my rep was like, that just sounds amazing. I wish I had a group of people like that.
Mm.
And my advice to anyone, because it is extremely rare to find what we have. It's almost non-existent, I'm guessing, across the world. Very, very few people have what we have. And so it's like, if you have to find mentors, you have to find like-minded individuals that really want to achieve the next level of success, or are seeking help in coaching and development, and also have something to give at the same time. You really get out of it what you put into it. And so it's just this journey. And ideally for people that are not going to find a bunch of people that, I fell upon, you have to go find individuals that you can go trust. And it can't be your friends necessarily. This is not, the conversations that we have are not ones that you're going to go talk with your best friend about,
Right.
because some of the things may be about your best friend and your spouse and those types of situations. So,
Wow.
just finding like-minded individuals that you can begin to trust and start to incorporate more of those people into a group can be very special.
I think a lot of individuals seek that type of group,
Yeah.
and the problem is they don't know where to look and where to find the right one.
Yeah.
Because there are many of them out there that serve certain groups and individuals, but it sounds like this particular group is a lot different than some of the ones I've been experienced with and heard. So, how do you how do you get people to find groups that are what they're looking for? Because everybody's different, you know.
So
What are they?
yeah,
What are they?
I'd like to give a whack at that.
Yeah, you're probably
I
the
think-
expert here. How many have you
Well,
been part of?
A dozen.
A dozen
Yes.
groups.
Well, you've probably been a huge catalyst in this group. From everything
we all have.
Yeah,
And I
but-
definitely, so to answer Marty's inquiry, it really is a matter of being a leader, having the concept and the idea, and going out and creating it. Finding a benchmark format that you could do, get a handful of people, and usually it starts with 2 people having a conversation. Do you know anybody? You know, hey, how about this? It starts with 3, and then it grows from there. So it's really just being the natural leader to go out and pursue it. If it's not there, create it.
And
That
Because
would
that's a I would see that as very, very difficult. Because if you're, say, your father in the dry cleaning, right? You said if he was looking for a group, where would he go?
Right.
Where he's stuck in his business, for 10, 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
Where is he going to go to, find a group, And I think that's what our audience is probably thinking the same thing. Like, hey, I'd love to get part, but I don't even know where to start, because
Well,
they
what I would
have
get-
their group of people, but that's not the group of people you want to share certain things with.
What I would say to that is if anybody is interested, I could help guide the general principles moving forward. And for a reference, if anybody's interested, contact us at Trendler.
Yeah.
And we'll get you,
'Cause,
we'll
that's-
start the seeds and have that grow. And I would be very, very resourceful and helpful to get that process started.
I think
Um,
just it sounds like just a blessing from God. 16 years of your life, you're obviously getting tremendous value
Yeah.
from this interaction as everybody else, and it's really cool just to be able to share that there are things like that out there for people to embrace and to pursue.
So, David, what particular accomplishment in your life would you say that you're most proud of?
Wow. Okay.
You can just throw a few out there. And the most, it's a little intense, but you're good at
that's
this,
a
right?
very intense question. I mean, you can go any direction between my family and my 3 children and, 16 years of marriage and overcoming.
Good start.
Let's start there. Thank you. Check that box. And just the journey on that side of it. I mean, that there's a lot to unpack there, of course. On the career side, it's really, just helping and seeing other people succeed and like building sincere relationships with individuals, not just because they were on my team and it's like, hey, good job, keep going. It's like, there's a pretty good group of individuals that I've worked with and led before that come back to me and just kind of give me validation that what I've done for them in their lives, it's not just about work. It's about the forum concepts that I bring to the people that I work with.
That's fascinating.
That's probably the most rewarding piece for me.
Awesome.
Yeah, the whole people side of the business, we're all driven by, numbers and things, but everybody that from customers to employees to family members, everybody has all the challenges of life that we're all experiencing. And it's, to balance all that stuff is not easy. And to have some place to go where you can share and discuss and come up with, solutions is pretty awesome. But
well, I mean, I'd be curious from your side too, as leaders. You guys are all leaders as within your organization and in your realm. And I feel like a lot of people come to me and say there's not enough good leaders out there, and it's not just leading them to go win a deal in my business of being in sales, but leading people again personally and professionally, and really caring about these individuals. So, are there things that you guys do to drive that?
So in a family business, it's really super challenging. Like when it comes to determining a leader, it's an extremely rigorous process. And like what ended up happening, Marty's the president at Trendler, and we all were in a line, and my dad said, "Oh, so who's ready to be the president?" Well, 3 of us stepped back And
I
Martin
looked
Gfesser
from
was
left
like,
to
"All
right, and I was going,
so there's how the leadership,
It's a pretty common leadership process.
How it begins to grow. So, no, joking aside, that's a great question.
you know, in a family business, it probably equates to any business, but I can only speak from being in a family business, that a leader, whoever that may be, needs to have the not necessarily the knowledge, got to be the smartest person in the room, obviously.
Oh, thank goodness for that. Phew.
But they have to have the ability to get people to buy into the vision of where you want to take the company.
Mhm.
And they don't teach that in school. They don't, you can take a psychology class, you can do all this, but when it comes down to it, having the right people underneath you and getting them to believe in the direction that you want to take the company, and having it obtainable. Everybody's like, okay, I want to, triple sales this year, and you need to go to, and everybody's like, okay, well that's actually demotivating because there's no,
Let's be realistic.
let's be realistic. And dynamics. And what I mean by that is in like us four brothers, there's three of us here, one's not. Each one of us growing up, we have our own, egos and our own ways that, we viewed life. And our process was, we have, one brother as a leader, and the chemistry just, I don't want to say off, but it was just, it was like, okay, we're doing good, but something's missing. And then we tried, a different leader, which kind of took it another level. And then, I wish I can say I had a magic potion, but I believe it was just something within our DNA that said, okay, the youngest, or Marty, who's been always soft-spoken and never really, it shifted, it changed. And it wasn't like I did anything other than stepped into the role. And it was like, everyone else was like, yeah, okay, I can.
Well, I would like to add something. You definitely did a lot more than step into the role.
Yes, I agree.
Prior, as far as the organization is concerned, you were a massive, major catalyst in accelerating the company's progress in the operations standpoint. We went on a tour just prior to the recording this podcast here. Plastic injection molding, which before we used to buy all the plastic, he researched it, brought all the tooling in. The powder coating that we saw, we used to buy all that. He researched it, evaluated, got all the equipment, welding, blah, blah, woodworking, et cetera, et cetera.
So the brains behind the operations.
The brains behind the operation, to the point where he had established a track record of massive contribution of results to the organization. So that is a minor, he's humble as well. That was a major contribution because he did have the knowledge and the wisdom of knowing how to take a team and pull them together to a vision, but he knew in this complex competitive manufacturing environment what really it took. Now you grew a lot too. That role as a president.
And mainly what I was speaking of is, family businesses, four brothers in business. We fought a lot over the years. I mean, we've had, we had a carpenter on full call, to come in and patch holes in the walls and stuff, after our meetings, and, and one of the biggest things when you look at family businesses is that, they all the family members have to get along. Okay. And we realized that the more we fought, the less money we made.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, hey, we need to figure this out. And that's where it was like, just having me in the role kind of calmed that portion of the of the issues we were dealing with at the time, and that's kind of what I was
Yeah,
saying.
that was well said. Well
um,
said.
But yeah, just the dynamic of
I'm
it.
interested
Yeah,
to hear
David, your
Stefan's point on
question
leadership.
is fascinating because leadership is a multi-dimensional thing. But you can imagine four brothers and a dad in a business together, and I would say leadership really is what I've learned over the years is that ego is a problem. You need to control your ego. We all have egos. We all want to, we have these, but we have to control ego, and we have to elevate our consciousness to collaborate with each other to reach a higher purpose. And that doesn't come naturally as human beings. God wired us a certain way to be more competitive. We want to compete. Then you take a brother or a sibling or a dad, it just gets intensified, that desire for competition. But we've learned through the help of God. I mean, it's spiritual. This is not just a physical, mental thing. It's a spiritual thing that you have to embrace and realize and kind of surrender and let go of some things to accomplish a higher objective. And Martin, you touched on it. Andreas, you touched on it. You even touched on it, with some of the things that you said. But it's my dad, quote my dad, he said, you can take 4 sticks. We were 4 brothers. He says, you can take one and you can break them individually pretty easy, but you take all 4, put them together, and you can't break those, okay? Or it's very difficult to break. And so that always stuck with us to collaborate, work together.
When
even though we
didn't.
didn't.
It was like, the lights kind of went on.
Cool.
And
So
That's really cool.
Yeah, and it served us very well.
Yeah.
And not easy, but and we work at it every day. But as long as I agree with everything these guys say, we get along just fine.
I think, Marty, to your point, though, like being a thought leader, to some of the examples Andreas shared, your experience, your understanding of the business at that level generates the belief of the people underneath you. When you can lead by example and from the front lines to show people what great looks like, that's where you earn the trust of and the belief from everyone to go follow you. And I think the next challenge from there is, okay, you have someone at the top that we believe in. Now we have the next layer of leaders that we need to rely on to go execute and be able to run at the speed that you expect as well.
So with the interest of time and the concept of leadership, I would just say my vision of this is leaders have to be visionary to picture what the future is going to be. And nobody really knows that. So it gets down to having a good enough guess to where you're passionate enough to pursue that endeavor and to try to bring as many people with you in this as you can and inspire and motivate to try to get the vision to be personal and integrated into what they do, with ultimately, not knowing what the outcome's going to be. So it gets to be faith and trust and let's give it our best shot. And it's kind of like playing a sport. You show up to play the game, you just go out there and give it the best you got and then evaluate afterwards. But that being said, this kind of wraps up our episode today. I was wondering if there's any
maybe
closing
give
comments?
one more closing comment on your company, just in case anybody's interested in, reaching out on cybersecurity or any of the things your company has to offer. Maybe just give a brief, just, hey,
Yeah, no, thank you. Zscaler's largest cloud security company in the world. And everyone needs to do a better job of securing their environment. Whether you're a small business to the largest companies in the world, there's risks that we're faced with every single day. There's a couple core tools that are out there. Zscaler's being one. I mean, we have customers that literally have 1 employee and to the largest companies in the world. So we do an amazing job just to provide basic layers of security for anything going to the internet to accessing private applications. And it's really been a game changer for my career. And cybersecurity is core to every business based on today's day and age. So
that's capital Z and then Scaler.
Correct.
SCA.
If there's anybody inquiring on
cool.
cybersecurity and what is there, just contact Trendler. We will get you in contact with David.
Yeah, please.
Awesome.
Yeah. Fair enough. So any wrap-ups?
Yeah, I just key takeaway for me today, David, was the whole concept of intrapreneur. And to me, I want to create as many entrepreneurs and help as many entrepreneurs as I can, an awareness of entrepreneurs' role in leading and driving success in companies. It's critical. And thanks for just sharing that with me, because it's been it's been there, but it's kind of in the forefront of my thinking right now. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
I just have one last comment. I got an email from the king of Nigeria asking me to wire him some money. Should I do that? No, I'm kidding.
Just send me the money first. I'll get it to him. I know him personally.
But no, thanks for having me on. It's been great.
Yeah, that was good. I like that.
That's good. Yes, actually, very funny. Very funny. So that concludes another episode. Thank you all very much. And please watch us on all the areas that we're available, which is
YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram.
Okay, very nice. If you have any questions or concerns, do not hesitate to contact us. We'll address everything in a prompt, timely manner. With that said, that concludes another episode. Thank you very much for listening, and till next time.
Take care.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.